Hey YouTube, how you guys doing? Jared Fuller here. Today is Sunday, December 9th, 2018. So glad you could join me for another week of the Sunday video update. I'm home alone at the moment, although I think Dad and Amy just rolled up. We'll find out in seconds if it's them because they'll come walking through the door. It has been a long and very stressful, very difficult week. So this past Thursday, I went to Columbus, Ohio, and I was there for the visitation services of Deanie Band of Annis, and I show my support even today, wearing my Deanie Strong shirt for the Band of Annis family, and for little Deanie, and visitation services were from 4 until 7 on Thursday. Oh, sorry about the red screen, by the way. But I had walked in, and I relieved the family, and I met his mom and dad and his brother, and then I walked up to the casket, which, by the way, was green, and on the front it had Deanie Strong, and Deanie's casket was filled with stuffed animals and lots of little things that Deanie enjoyed. I walked up, paid my respects to the family and to Deanie, and I was there for probably, I don't know, a good 20 minutes or so, because, as I had stated, visitation was from 4 until 7, and the hospitality of the funeral director and the staff members at the Dwayne R. Spence Funeral Home, they had allowed for the latecomers to, have time to say their final goodbyes, because Deanie's funeral is actually in Ithaca, New York, and those of us who won't be able to attend the funeral in Ithaca, New York, had the chance then on Thursday to say our final goodbyes and pay our final respects to Deanie, and to send him off in true Deanie fashion, which, by what I heard, he held up traffic in Columbus, Ohio, so because he had a wonderful funeral procession, and so my love and my condolences continue for the Band of Annis family, and if there's anything further I can do, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm not sure if the Band of Annis family watches my videos. I'm not sure who watches my videos. I'm not really keen on who my viewership is. Keen as in I'm not real specific on who watches. It's just for anybody who wants to watch. But I'm sure at some point this message will get out to the Band of Annis family, and I offer my love and condolences, and if there's anything further I can do to help the family, please don't hesitate to reach out. And, there's no guarantees, there's no promises, but I'll see what I can do for the most part. Even if it's just, reach out to me in an email, reach out to me in a DM. I think you have my cell phone number. I'm not a hard person to find. So I wanted to get that out of the way, and we had lost a very good friend of ours, a good friend of the family. I've known him most all my life. His name was Bill Sobel. He passed away at the age of 66, and his funeral, I believe, will be tomorrow or Tuesday. I forget. I shared it on Facebook, but now I forget. But it is this week, and so I offer my love and condolences to the Sobel family, and it's been really rough lately, and with Christmas season coming up, it doesn't help matters. It just adds 10 times more emphasis to the already existing problem and the already existing depression of the holiday season, and now we're losing people. It just doesn't help matters. So it's a really rough time. I've been in a bit of a funk myself lately, just thinking about life, thinking of my next steps, thinking of what I want to do, where I want to go. There's people who still want to meet me, and I'm looking quite forward to it. And I would like to own up on my end of the bargain of, we made plans for me to come and see you, and I would still like to meet the people in person and maybe chill for a weekend or whatever. But there's just been so much going on. I've been caught up in my own emotions lately, and it's been rough going, and it's I've just been thinking about so much, and I don't want to give too much of myself away, because then my haters they'll look at this as an act of, oh, well, we've defeated Jared. Yay. Well, no one's being defeated here. You haven't won. This is not about winning and losing. It's not about gaining momentum or traction by putting someone else down. It's the fact that, you know what, I need to take a step back for a minute. I need to evaluate some things. I need to get with my own emotions to keep from going insane. And, I'm going to proceed with caution and throw caution to the wind. So that's what I intend to do. And by the way, that's not me saying I'm leaving advocacy, although it's crossed my mind to discontinue my advocacy efforts, because even if I'm not an advocate, I'm still a survivor, and my stories will still hold water. The truth will always be there, whether my haters like it or not, which I find to be really, really entertaining, that so many of my haters are still, I don't know, they seem rather pissed because I'm a member of this so-called group of people. And, well, I don't know what to tell you. If I had my way about things, I wouldn't have had cancer either. I would have meandered on with my life and not given this a second thought either. But it is what it is. And there was something else I wanted to touch base briefly. I need to rant a little bit because I feel that this is important, and it may be of use to people who are watching this. If you're familiar with who I am and what I do and what I'm about, if you're familiar with who I am, there's an off chance that everybody has seen a comment between Facebook and Twitter about, oh, Jared harasses and stalks and he attacks parents of cancer kids. He attacks parents of kids in the entertainment business. And to those people who have the nerve, because I find these things out surreptitiously. I'm not on a manhunt. I'm not searching for these comments. I'm not looking to add to my already existing depression or stress level or whatever you want to call it. But I find things out surreptitiously. So to those people who are making these claims that I have specific targets, that I only attack and harass parents of this or parents of that, why don't you do yourself a favor and shut the hell up? Because apart from the fact that they are members of a specific group or a specific organization or a specific anything, that's irrelevant. It's irrelevant to what they associate themselves with or what line of work they're in. It is absolutely irrelevant. I don't care if they are cancer parents. I don't care if they are parents of actor kids. I don't care. If your personality sucks, it sucks. If you're a shitty person, you're a shitty person. And I'm going to call you out. So can we please stop the notion that, oh, Jared attacks targeted groups of people? Why don't you just be quiet if you don't know what you're talking about? Because what I do is I assess people as individuals, the personality. I don't care who they associate with. I don't care who they're friends with. I don't care who they work for, what their line of work is, or what they do, or how they're involved in anything. I don't care. If you're a shitty person, you're a shitty person. End of discussion. Now, if you want to believe what you're told about me by anybody who has the nerve to tell you a bunch of crap about me, well, that's your problem. I'm not responsible for your assumption. But as far as you making a decision based on what people say instead of what's actually true, your personality sucks and you have terrible judgment. And that's what I'm going to attack, is your lack of judgment, your lack of responsibility in investigating things and finding truth, rather than, you just assume and you assert things. Well, congratulations. You have managed to get the wrong answer without any effort. Good for you. And speaking of such, we are talking about childhood cancer. I want to remind all of you to visit GuideStar.org. GuideStar.org has a complete listing of legitimate 501c3 nonprofit organizations and LLCs that is approved and mandated by the United States federal government and the Internal Revenue Service. Don't be fooled, don't be duped. Visit GuideStar.org today. I thought Dad and Amy were back. I guess they're not back yet. So those are just a few things I wanted to get out of the way. I was in Lansing yesterday. I had to take care of some business down there. I've been keeping in touch every so often with friends, family. I see them here and there, talk to them here and there, not a whole lot. I'm back on Facebook, of course, everybody knows, and I'm on Twitter. But there's just been so much going on. My emotions are kind of all over the place, and I'm just really tired. I'm distraught. I'm frustrated. I'm heartbroken. I am so tired of the lack of respect. For the past 5 years, I have taken something that had directly affected me as a person, and I've tried to be a voice for other people who are also directly impacted by the same thing or the similar thing. I have bent over backwards by getting involved in charities. I have bent over backwards and just being there and talking to people, allowing people to call me. And, if there's something that's bothering me, I don't care if it's 3 in the afternoon or 3 in the morning, call me, and they have. I have devoted so much of my time, my energy, my money, so much of myself into wanting to help people who are just out front disrespectful. And I understand that the parents are going through so much, dealing with personal issues at home and dealing with their children who are terminally ill. I'm not disregarding that. I'm not denouncing it. And I do try to take everything with a grain of salt. I try to take it gracefully. You know what? The parents are going through enough as it is. And so I try to overlook a lot of things in the childhood cancer world, especially in the childhood cancer world. But there comes a point in time where, you know what? You have to really think to yourself, I understand the situation. I understand the scenario. But I'm not the one that caused this. I'm not responsible for what happened. And while I do have a great deal of sympathy for what these people are going through, I'm not the one that caused it. And I'm the one who's been trying to walk beside you in this. And I've been trying to be the best person I could be to everybody. And quite frankly, I can't do that. It's impossible because I can't please everybody. I have tried so hard to get through to people, and they simply want to believe crap. They want to believe crap all the time. And while I did just now engage in a little bit of a ranting there, and there's a bit of a theatrical anger that I had added to that, I actually am sick and tired of people who make bald-ass assumptions about things they have clearly no idea what they're even talking about to begin with. And what that does is it ultimately affects the friendships that I have with these people, that I've been trying to talk to them, and I've been trying to get them to understand that, you know what, I know what you're going through. I get this. I know what childhood cancer is. Now, that's a fact. And what these people that I'm trying to associate with, what they're hearing is a bunch of garbage that has been unfounded with no evidence to support it. They're believing this. They're all believing this. That's not a virtue. Being a liar is not a virtue. And those people who like to lie and spread gossip will own up. Sooner or later, they're going to face the music of whatever karma, although I'm not really a firm believer in karma, but they're going to face the music sooner or later. What goes around comes around, maybe. I guess that's karma. I don't know. Because I really don't believe in karma. I don't believe in a cosmic justice scale that somehow the moon and the stars are going to align just right and people are going to get what they deserve. I don't necessarily believe that. Most people do. But what they're hearing about me is a bunch of garbage, a bunch of bad things, not so nice things. It's going to take more than me to sit here and say I'm not a bad person. Because really, I'm not a bad person. I could say this all day long. It wouldn't make much of a difference to people who've already made up their minds about me. But my discrepancy is that there are people who are basing decisions on what other people are just saying alone. You can't do that. They have no reason at all to say the things they do and then feel as if they don't have to back it up with some kind of evidence. I could go on all day long on Facebook about how someone is a racist when they're not a racist. And this is something I kind of I talked to my dad about this too. That would be like if a bunch of people had come to me on Facebook and said a bunch of nonsense about one of my friends that I know wasn't true to begin with, because I've had conversations and meaningful, conversations with this particular friend. And say a bunch of people came to me and said, oh, well, that person that you're associated with, you're talking with, is a racist. And I would then have to, the first thing I would do is I would ask for evidence to substantiate the claim. You're claiming this, I want proof. I want you to show me exactly where this person is being a racist. Do you have evidence of this? And if they have something to present to me, if they have something to provide, some whatever it is, what I would then do is take what I'm given and I would show it to the accused. This is how we figure out what's true and what's not. You give me a piece of evidence, I present it to the person being accused, and I allow them to present their case. But I don't accuse. I'm not saying that the person who's being accused is automatically guilty on account of how many people say something. That doesn't make something true, and that doesn't make the accused person guilty. And I understand there's a reputation thing going on, but I'm a person who doesn't think like everybody else. I don't care if 1 million people said that the person is racist. I have yet to see evidence of that person being racist. And if not one of those 1 million people can provide me some kind of evidence of any kind whatsoever to examine and analyze, then I have no reason to believe that they're true. I think they're all a bunch of liars. But back to my point. They provide something. I show it to the accused. They have a chance to respond. They have a chance to offer a rebuttal. This is how we discover truth of things. This is how we make determinations based on good judgment. What it is, and that's my phone, what it is when they explain something. Now, it could just as well be the case that one of these people over here doctored up an image. Because, being Facebook, everything is, I'd say, 95% textual and like only 5% imagery. So combined between that's a very, conservative number, I'd say, but provided between the two, that's what makes the world of Facebook, is text and imagery. So anybody can doctor up an image of anyone, and it doesn't matter who. You can make anyone look like they said something that was detestable when they actually didn't say it. So when I present this bit of evidence to the person who's being accused, they have a chance for rebuttal, and they say, look, I did not say that, because you should know that I am not a person who would say something like this. And of course, judging by, because people say I don't judge anyone. Yeah, we do. We use judgment all the time on each other. It's no secret. So what I would have to do is I would have to go through the person's profile or the timeline to see the kinds of content that they post. And it may not even be just that. It may be, I know this person well enough to say that, hey, they're not a racist. I don't believe this for a second. Now, it may be the case as well where they may have said something that, they may have said something a long time ago that was taken out of context. And these people over here, because they had this vendetta against this one person, and then they try to spin doctor to make it sound like this person over here, the accused, had said something that they actually did not say. I understand all this because it's happened to me any number of times. So I would have to offer, or I would have to allow that person, the person who's being accused, to offer rebuttal, and then I would have to consider both sides. You're saying this about this person, but here's the thing, I've known this person for a very long time. We've talked, we've had meaningful discussions. I don't see that in them. They're not the kind of people, they're not the kind of person who would say something so heinous or vicious. So you're going to have to offer some more evidence. Give me something else to go by. And they say, well, we don't have anything else. This is all we have. Well, I mean, so now I would have to make a determination as to whether or not this is actually true or if this is something that was doctored up. But either way, the person being accused would have to offer a rebuttal and tell me exactly what, if they did say it, what they meant by it, or, hey, I didn't write this. I didn't make this post. This is incorrect. They doctored this image to make it look like that it was coming from me. Now, there's there's always a lot of factors to consider, especially with social media, because it can be very extremely difficult to prove guilt when someone's being accused, or even to prove innocence, or I should say not guilty, because just like in any verdict court of law, the jury either finds a person guilty or not guilty. So if someone's coming to me, that automatically puts me in a position to become a moderator of a dispute. Now, I don't go around randomly, trying to dissect and dismantle every problem that exists between two people, because it's not, it has nothing to do with me. But until such time as these people show me something of one of my friends, then I become a moderator. Then I become involved. And so that's how I make determinations. I'm a very skeptical person, but I also like to apply logic and critical thinking to a lot of my thought processes. That's how my mind works. And that's what pisses so many people off. And the people who watch this video, or any video, they could so much as say, well, Jared curses. Jared says mild swear words, so we know he's a bad person. Actually, I know lots of wonderful, good, decent human beings who swear profusely. It doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means that they're real. That's as real as they are. And judging someone based on their use of profane language, I think, is a bit juvenile. And, I'm not so sure that I should consider a person's use of, what do they call, colorful language, like the F word or whatever. So what? It just means that the person is real. I don't judge people based on their use of profane language. I mean, not in a negative way. I just said, so now I'm contradicting myself, because we all judge each other. We all have to have some kind of judgment. But we have errors in judgment as well, which seems to be the case with a lot of people, whether they be parents of cancer kids or parents of kids in the entertainment world. Lack of judgment, error of judgment. So, I don't know, that was a lot to explain. But we have to judge each other. But what I was trying to say is, people swear or use curse words. I don't look at them as bad people or disgusting or trashy people because they say F this, F that, whatever. I grew up around people like that my entire life, so I'm not bothered by it, not in the least. and I do understand that was a lot to go over. I did put together a video, if you had a chance to watch. There was a video I had put together, and I had used some news footage from the local CBS affiliate here in my neighborhood, or my area rather. So there was a guy who was pretending to be a young kid and asking for nude pictures of young kids. And I had put together a video, and I did share it on Twitter. Not to scare the bejesus out of anybody, but to make it known that this is real. And this is exactly why I always, always, always implement this. You have to be very adamant. You have to demand pictures of people. You have to. You don't know if you're talking to an actual kid or a grown man pretending to be a kid. You don't know who you're talking to. In between Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, my identity is always consistent. So there's no denying that this is who I really am, and this is how I sound, this is how I talk. Very eloquent with my words. So there's no denying that I am a real person, and my consistency is it's always there. My consistency is alive and well when it comes to my identity. The person who was pretending to be a young kid lied about his identity in order to garner access to young children and then demand that they show nudes of themselves, which is it's appalling. Appalling, and it's disgusting, and it's grossly profound that any grown person would do that. Dad and Amy's back, so they're going to be walking through the door any minute. Ta-da! Hey, I'm in the middle of my Sunday video update. You guys just walked in right at the perfect time.
Hello.
But that's one of the issues that was happening, and this is why I always try to point out that you have to be adamant. You have to demand pictures of these people. If they interact with your kids, you should want to know who you're allowing to interact with your children. You should want to know who your kids are talking to and who's talking to your kids. That was the point that I tried to make. And that video footage of that particular individual who was arraigned in my local courts, in the judicial system, that should have been a home run point to be proven. That should have been an easy home run point to be made. But again, people still want to block. They think, oh, well, Jared is obsessing over this. You know, when it comes to the safety of children, yes, I will obsess over this day and night until people get it in their thick heads that this kind of thing is really happening. Now, again, surreptitiously, I found out that one of the cancer moms says, well, you know, demanding pictures of young kids, well, what if, you know, why do you obsess over wanting to see pictures of kids? Wrong. I did not ask for pictures of kids. What I'm trying to do, the point that I tried to make was, I'm trying to blow this open to the point where if you really are who you say you are, then you should not have a problem proving it. Especially if you're on social media, right? So the point that I tried to make was, if you have a problem with someone who's claiming to be a kid, why don't you ask and demand several different poses of who this particular individual is to disprove their lives? To disprove, okay, if you're a grown person, admit it. If you're a kid, admit it. Show it. Either way. I don't have an obsession with wanting to see faces of kids, you know, pictures of kids. The point is, because, and this is how this mom, she likes to spin doctor, she likes to twist everything like most people do anymore. The point that I was trying to make was, this is how we determine who's real and who's not. Now, I'm not going to go the next step further and say that this particular cancer mom is okay with strangers talking to her kids. I'm not saying that at all, and I'm not going to say that she is okay with people not showing their identity. I'm not saying that either. But what I'm saying is, she's trying to make this sound like I'm the bad person, like I'm sounding all creepy. No. If someone claims to be something They need to prove that. Because we have a huge issue. It is just overwhelming with people who are dishonest about who they say they are. They refuse to reveal identity of who they really and truly are. And that's a problem. And these parents, whether they're, I don't care who they associate with. I don't care what their line of work is. I don't care what group they belong to. These people exist. And instead of getting all pissy-fied with me, why don't you actually do the research and investigation yourself? And understand what I'm trying to get at. Understand the point I'm trying to make. Most parents do get it. Most of them have caught on and they've said, well, you know what, Jared, you have a good point. Now I see what you're saying. And that's what I've been trying to say this entire time. And, you know, people, because they already have this very awful image or idea of who I am. They have this illusion that I'm this horrible person, and whatever anybody else says is automatically and immediately going to fit the narrative of what's being said about me and how they feel about me anyway, so it's not going to make much of a difference to those people anyhow. Well, that's just too bad, isn't it? If you want strangers and trolls and pedophiles and child predators talking to your children, have at it. I'm not going to give you a lecture on your parenting, by all means. But I think it's rather ridiculous that instead of looking into this when someone points this out to you in black and white, you instead get pissed off at the person instead of the person who's pretending to be who and what they're not. So, that's my take on that. Our water froze.
Yeah.
Dad, you said that it froze this morning?
Yeah, early this morning.
I got to be honest with you, spring water does not
Tastes good.
taste good with coffee, but I'm not going to let it go to waste. I'm just going to drink it.
I'd rather have well water any day, but I got to put it right out in the well hose.
Ugh.
Okay, we'll be back. I'm going to take the old one off this rum here and try to put that other one on the pump.
Because when I was in Lansing last night, was taking care of some business that I have not given my position, and I'm not going to. But I was in Lansing. I was in Lansing last night taking care. Okay, I was taking care. Yep, I was taking care of some business, and my tire kept going flat. I paid $1.50 to use an air hose, which I think is ridiculous that you should have to pay for air to air up your tire. But it was $1.50 for like 4 or 5 minutes, and I only needed to air up the one tire. And I get back home, tire's flat again. So today, I'm assuming it's really all the way down to the rim flat. I've had the worst luck with tires, and now I'm going to need some new brake pads. So there's money I'm going to have to spend. But, you know, that's general wear and tear and maintenance on vehicles, and as much traveling as I like to do, that's a given. That's bound to happen sooner or later. Parts wear out. Brake pads need changed. You need oil changes. You got to, you know, make sure that you have good tires, because over time the tires do tend to wear out after driving on them so much. And considering the fact that I've already been to Columbus, Ohio and back, I've been there twice in my life. Yeah, so that's, and of course with the same vehicle, it's bound to happen. So, you know, I don't have to explain that to my fellow drivers out there, my fellow yabba dabba doers. But it's just been a very, very long, very difficult week. With people dying and just everything else happening. You know, there's also, you know, I was going to print off a list of things to talk about this week, which I plan to do every week, but somehow it gets away from me and I just lose interest. And it's like, I'll just, you know, I'll ad-lib everything. I'll just sit here and talk about whatever randomly comes up. So, that's that. And there is a local warrior who was sent home. I made a post on Facebook, but apparently some people got a little pissed at me because I offered a specific detail that I probably shouldn't have. But I did not give the warrior's name, by the way, and I'm not going to give the name here, but there was a warrior who was sent home because they felt that there was nothing more they could do for him. And he's battling leukemia. And so now his family is asking for, some alone time. And it's looking very, very grim. The warrior is in a moribund state, and, it's not looking good. So I don't know if his family watches. I don't know again, like I said, I don't know who watches. I don't know who and what my demographics are. I just record the videos, upload them to my YouTube channel, and just it's out into the open. Anybody who wants to watch, anybody's viewing pleasure that needs to be, an itch that needs to be scratched, here it is. I don't know who watches my channel. There's people who watch it because they love me. There's people who watch my channel because they hate me. Either way, I'm being heard. People are watching me. So, it's just been very, very, very rough. And my mind has been just kind of all over the place. I had written a poem last night called 16, and I'll get that poem video up probably as soon as I get done recording this. So that'll be there for your viewing pleasure as well. It's a very short poem. It's like an excerpt from when I was 16 years old, how I was thinking differently and where my thought processes were back then. And I just didn't have a care in the world. I didn't reach out to anybody. I kept to myself. I was in my own world. Just didn't care. Just didn't have a care. I was carefree and doing my own thing. So that's pretty much what I talk about in that poem. So I will have that poem video up very, very soon. Just stay tuned, and you'll see it. But I have the house to myself again. And there was one last thing I wanted to touch on, and I did touch on this briefly. But the Christmas season is fast approaching. And this is not, especially with everything going on now, the things that have happened just recently, there's not a lot of joyous, holiday, cheery, moods. There's not a lot of cheery dispositions from a lot of people because of the events that have occurred recently. I haven't had a Christmas spirit in, I don't know, since I was 16. So it's been 16 years because I'm 32 now. It's been, I don't know, my Christmas spirit has kind of went down the tubes. I go to Bronner's, the world's largest Christmas store. I go to Frankenmuth once in a while, and I check out Bronner's. I take video, and I put together videos for my channel. But I do that because there are other people who may enjoy the sights and the sounds of Christmas. And, of course, Bronner's is a tourist attraction. There's people from all over the world who come and visit the store. They buy gifts. The last time I was there, it was jam-packed, not a dry seat. I think that was last week. I talked about that last week. Bronner's attracts visitors from all over the world. It is a tourist attraction here in Saginaw County, in the town of Frankenmuth. But my Christmas spirit, personally, I just don't have. We don't put up decorations. We don't put up a tree. We don't have Christmas lights. We don't put decorations up outside of the house. We don't get into the cheery holiday spirit because our Christmas spirits have long since dwindled and died. And a lot of it has to do with, we just don't care anymore, and we've lost interest in, we've just lost interest. There's just no reason to celebrate it anymore. If I had kids of my own, I would have this house decorated. I would have a tree. I'd have ornaments. I would have garland everywhere, all through this house. But I don't have kids of my own, and so that doesn't really help matters. it's just me, myself, and I. Well, I live with Dad and Amy, but it's just us. We don't have, there's no kids around here. So there's really no point for us to decorate the house. We don't put up a tree. We don't get into the festive spirit or whatever you call it. It's usually, and this is by what I see, it's the people they've got what they want. They have the family. They have people who love them. They have their kids and grandkids. I mean, that's really who it's for, is the children. But these people who are, they talk about, oh, I'm so blessed. Well, I'm happy for you, but at the same time, in my view, that's kind of self-righteous, because what about those of us who don't have kids? What about those of us who are single? What about those of us who would give anything to have someone love us the way that we would love them? We don't get that. We don't have families of our own. And it's not to slap anyone's spirit or to, slug anyone in the shoulder. But I view it as a bit of, that's being self-righteous. Because you can only see it from how you live your life. Not everybody sees things the same way as you do. And there's even people with kids who are depressed and don't have a Christmas spirit. So I'm not saying that everybody with kids has a Christmas spirit. I have a friend who's an oncology mom, and we talk to one another almost practically every day, at least once a day in a text message. She doesn't have a Christmas spirit. I don't have a Christmas spirit. She has kids. I don't have kids. So our reasons for not having cheery dispositions may be different and separate from one another. But nonetheless, we are in the same boat when it comes to a lack of holiday spirit. So we don't care much about Christmas. She may do it for the kids specifically, and that's understood. Personally, she doesn't have Christmas spirit. The holidays depress her. She just doesn't, she doesn't have a holiday spirit like myself. I don't have a holiday spirit. To me, it's a commercialized holiday. It's more about how much money you can spend. Not everybody can spend thousands of dollars. Not everyone has mooka bucks to blow on things that you're only going to see maybe once or twice. You're going to get use out of it maybe 2 or 3 times. You're going to get tired of looking at it, and then you're going to put it off to the side. It's excess, it's Christmas to me. It used to mean so much, and now I don't care if it ever comes. I'm not someone who really cares about Christmas. Now it's more for the kids, because Santa Claus and the reindeer and all that, the elves and things like that. It's a kid's holiday. When you're a grown-up, I don't know, a lot of people still love Christmas. They believe in Santa Claus and all this, that, and the other, not to crush anybody's holiday spirits and not to destroy or dismantle a child's imagination, but there are people who don't believe in Santa Claus. I'm one of them. I used to, but then I grew out of it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with believing in Santa Claus. I just don't. I used to. I don't. But enough on Christmas, because for me, it just reminds me of who and what I don't have. It's not a joyous time of the year. It's not a happy-go-lucky anything for me. I've pretty much given up on the whole Christmas, anything to do with it. Again, like I said, I go to Bronner's, but that's a Christmas store. And I like to just walk around and see all the different colorful, sparkly things they have at Bronner's. It's very pleasing to the eye. It's very, gratifying to the brain when you see all the different lights and spectacular colors and things like that. But that's as far as it goes for me. I could care less about Christmas. But anyway, that's a lot of talking. I didn't think I had so much to talk about this week, but I actually do. So, yeah, here I sit again alone by myself. I've been going through some issues of my own, and I'm not going to get into those, but anybody who's watching this, love me or hate me, I'm still here, I'm still standing, I'm still doing what I feel needs to be done. But, you know, people, I give people too much credit, more than I should. And every single day, every day, I see this with people more and more and more. The more you trust people, the more you show people that you love and care about them, the more they turn you away, the more they walk away, they walk out of your life. And again, for the past 5 years, I have, my God, I've given so much of myself, so much of my time, so much of my everything to families who are affected by childhood cancer. And it never seems like it's enough. Never seems like it's enough because of the crap going around. There's people who are more intrigued by gossip and rumors than they are people who've actually survived the very thing that their kids are battling. I don't understand where a person's mind is. And the thing with people who like to spread gossip is they only tell gossip to people who they know can't think for themselves. They know that they cannot think for themselves. And I could talk about this every week if I wanted to. You know, I come here every Sunday and talk about, you know, I talk about GuideStar. I provide a link to GuideStar because that to me is important, and I think it's important that people know who and what they're getting themselves involved in. And all these people who say, well, Jared, you know, this certain person, he's not doing this anymore. I don't care. I don't care, because the off chance that they could be lying to me, and if I let my guard down, oh, well, he got tired of talking about it, so now I can just go ahead and do what I was doing before by scamming and conning and soliciting money from people who are unsuspecting and vulnerable. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to let my guard down. I can't. There's just no way. It's too late for that now. And to the people who don't like me or don't like what I have to say, so then why don't you just stop watching my channel and stop watching my videos, pull up a chair, take a seat, shut the hell up. I'm not saying you're not entitled to your opinion, but that's all it is, an opinion. And until you have evidence to support a claim you're making, there should be no reason why anyone should believe you. And that goes for the people who spread gossip and the parents who are believing all this crap, this nonsense. I don't know. I get tired of all of it. Oh, God, that is so awful. Ugh. Ugh, spring water is not the best for making coffee. Ugh. I'm just going to dump the rest, I think. That's awful. I should have drank my Pepsi. I knew I should have stuck to the Pepsi. Oh, my God, that's awful. Oh. That's bad. So I guess that's all I have to say. It's just another week of ranting and rambling and once again stating the obvious that people are just not smart enough to catch on. I give people way too much credit for things that they deserve zero credit for. And that's a mistake on my part. I don't know what it's going to take. I mean, because, you know, it's one thing to not like a person. And there's a lot of people I don't like. I'm not big fans of them either. There's a lot of people I don't like. It's not just the childhood cancer world, but it's also in the entertainment industry. I can't begin to tell you how many people have blocked me on both Facebook and Twitter based on account of what someone else said. It's that lack of communication. When I've been wronged when I've been treated like crap by someone that I've been really nice to and supportive, I don't idly sit by in secret and say, well, I always wondered what would possess a person to think this about me. I actually come out and ask them, what is your problem? Why would you ever think that about me? Why? Someone who supported you for all this time, someone who has been a fan of yours, or someone who understands this journey, and this is between childhood cancer and people in the entertainment biz. I have been supportive and understanding of both, groups of people. But I still get disrespect. I don't know what it's going to take. I could just as well sit here and throw some names out to people. I mean, I could have some names appear on the bottom of the screen who I would direct this video at, but I'm not going to do that because the people who watch my video, especially the haters, they know that this is about them. And I don't have a problem saying what needs to be said. And I know that they know these videos are about them, so I don't have to put their names. They just automatically know. Because they assume. Which is basically what a gossiper does. That's their nature. They assume. And people who can't think for themselves and they are so gullible to believe everything they are told, they will also assume. They will get this very bad image of who I am as a person. And they will spread this. They will try to infiltrate people's minds and thought processes with, Jared Fuller is a bad person. Jared Fuller is a bad name. Avoid Jared Fuller. Don't want anything to do with Jared Fuller. What have I done? You still have yet to demonstrate with evidence what I've done, what I've said. And the point that I had made a couple weeks ago, and I'll touch on this one more time and then I'm going to wrap it up. The laws of mathematical probability are not with people. Not with everybody. People don't understand the laws of mathematical probability because on social media, everybody, especially Facebook, and I'm going to kind of direct this to Facebook, we are all connected every which way, right? Like my friends are also involved in various different circles and groups of other friends and so on and so forth. Everybody is connected every which way. Make no mistake. So if there is evidence circulating on Facebook, what are the odds? What are the chances that not one of my friends would see this and then bring it to my attention? Because as I had stated previously, if someone come to me with evidence of one of my friends, I would have something to present to them. I wouldn't just block that person because of what all these people over here had to say. That's ridiculous. That would be me assuming things. I don't make assumptions. I go by evidence. Now, why can't those people understand that? Instead of blocking Jared Fuller, why don't you, if you have evidence, why don't you present your case to Jared Fuller? Why don't you show Jared Fuller what it is that all these other people are talking about? Because it's quite obvious to me that of all the many friends I have on Facebook since my return, it just seems so preposterous that as many friends as I have, and not one of them have shown me anything that is worth looking at, anything of substance. They have not shown me any kind of evidence that would substantiate the claim that numerous people are making. It's all a bunch of this. It's back and forth, jibber jabber talk. It's empty talk. You can say this all day long, but until such time that you prove this, I have no reason to think that it's true. Why don't people think this way? We're not saying that it's not true. We're saying that I have no reason to think that it is. at this point until I see something that is substantial that would convince me otherwise. That would sound compelling. But even if let's say, for example, convinced, again, I would have to show what I'm given to the accused. Now, this may foil the plans of many, many gossipers, and that's the point. That's the point. Because if any of this were true, I can almost guarantee at least one of my friends would have saw something. And they haven't. They haven't presented me with anything. And it sounds like we have water back. Because it sounds like the water is running in my bathtub. So, with all that being said, think about that. And I thank you so much for watching another week of the Sunday Video Update. I've been here for almost an hour. I have to go shut the water off, or at least let the faucet drip so it doesn't freeze again. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for sticking by my side through all of this nonsense that people like to, they will do anything to make me sound like a bad person. And putting other people down doesn't give you hero status. And I also saw this post real quick nonchalantly. Well, this person's in it for they're in it for the cause, not the applause. Bullshit. A person's actions will always speak louder than their words. Every single time. Keep that in mind too. So, I'm out of here. I have some other things I got to do. I will have that poem video up for all of you to see. It's a brief poem I had written last night called 16. I hope you watch it. I hope you enjoy it. I almost said the Batman. No, same bear time, same bear channel next week. Much love to all of you. Thank you for watching. This is Jer Bears saying, have a good week. Peace out.